A nice small little brown trout. How you doing, everyone? Hope you're all enjoying the live show tonight. My name's Peter Driver. It's summertime. We're probably watching this in the heart of October, November or December, and we're all cold. But lovely view here on a summer's evening, mid-August, catching some lovely little trout. So tonight we're all about dry dropper. And that's what I'm going to do here for a little while now. Next few minutes, we're going to go through some dry dropper setups, a few hot tips, and let's see if we can catch a couple of more little trout. So basically what I have here, quickly to run through my setup, I've got a 10-foot 2 weight. I always fish 2 weights on Euro Nymphet, dry fly, dry dropper, whatever else. All the same, just so it helps me in competition for tippet protection, that kind of stuff. So I got my 10-foot 2 weight, got my usual Vivarelli lever action semi-automatic on there. I got a 3 weight way forward floating fly line. That's one of our own floating fly lines, Piscari fly floating fly lines. Been fishing a lot of that over the last season or two, and absolutely fantastic. So I have that there in a 3 weight just to give me that extra little bit of punch. If I can encounter a bit of a breeze or some kind of an obstacle where I have to kind of short line a little bit, i.e. back very limited area for backcast or whatever. I then have a 9-foot tapered leader down to 5x, and at the bottom of that I've attached on a piece of 0.10 Shogun. I have about 2 foot of 0.10 Shogun, and that goes down to about 0.08. That goes down to 0.08. I got a little tangle here at the same time. As you can see, there's no bleepers on this one, so this is going to be shot straight through. There's going to be no cutting or editing on it. So I'm fixing this, as you can see. No matter how much practice and prep you put into your fly fishing, knots are never going to leave you, including myself included. So basically I come down to 0.10 off my 5x in Shogun. I then have a dropper, as you can see there. I have a dropper down to a nice big size 10 sedge clink. Okay, you can see that there. We're going to tie that one. If I haven't tied it for you already tonight, we will be tying that sedge clink tonight. This has been a revelation this year for myself and fellow fishing buddies. That thing's been catching an awful lot of fish for us. I get a proper grip of it here. Catching an awful lot of fish for us. Floats like crazy. You can see we got a bit of foam underneath there. And I always find in August it's very important. It can be very beneficial to fish a nice big clink, because you know trout will come up and take that. Trout will come up and take that in this time of the year. Big sedge or big clink. Then from there on, then I've got about 4 foot, 4.5 foot down to a 2.5 mil little nymph. Okay, we call that the number 6. The driver number 6 is one of the little nymphs. Has been working great for us this year. We might tie that at some stage in nymph in November if I haven't tied it for you already. So that's my basic setup. Very important to remember once I've got it set up. We mucilin everything. Everything to the dry fly has to float. Okay, so when you lift to make that connection into the fish, when that nymph is 4 foot down under the surface, you need to be getting on that connection very fast. It needs to be, so everything to the dry fly must float. So I've all that mucilined up. I got a bit of gink onto my clink, and I've also got it sprayed with our shoe repellent. And as you can see, I have an extra bit of gink here just in the back of my hand. That's the way I carry it, on the back of the hand. So I want to retreat that at any stage during the evening. I just catch it by the hook, and I just massage it into the back of my hand, and that retreats it. Okay, saves me putting it on my fingers, rubbing it in, and then getting gink all over my fingers and all over the line. And when I'm changing nymphs, then getting it all over the nymphs doesn't help that nymph sink. Okay, so important, everything stays up. I degreased the line then with Piscari's Fuller's Earth from the nymph, from the dry fly down to the nymph, and then we're ready to go fishing. Okay, that's a basic setup of dry dropper. Nothing too fancy, but it's effective. So we're going to make our way up along here now. Stay with me. Come on. We'll go up along here and let's see if we can get in a few fish. And if I can use any more hints or tips along the way, we can talk about it. By the way, I'm sitting at home in the house above, watching this with you guys and girls. So if you do have any questions, please ask them and I'll be able to answer them. Okay? So I always like to cast not too far away from myself. I'm about 15 to 20 foot there ahead. Maybe 20 to 25 to be correct. Fishing them nicely up the stream. I'm always fishing at either 11 o'clock or 1 o'clock. It's rare enough I fish at 12, okay? Because I always like a little bit of a side drift on it. Just for me, I find it more effective. Okay, I strip in some of the slack then. I'm not letting any slack go out, because as soon as if that nymph drops at any stage, I need to be quick to set that hook. So at all times, once it's swimming back towards me, I'm stripping in that slack. But another thing I'll also do if I go cross stream a little bit more, and I'll do that on the next cast. I'll go slightly more across stream as I move the rod tip along with the fly, giving me much longer drifts without drag. Drag is a no-no on dry dropper, okay? Unless I'm doing a little bit of dry dropper downstream and I want a little bit of drag. Other than that, drag is no-no. Slight little mend upstream can be very beneficial. Never take the rod off that dry fly. You see, once I get about there, I start moving the rod tip. And fish there, take. A little bit slow on that one. Move the rod tip, don't be afraid to move the hips. You know, use your body to get that extra little bit of drift. Because it's deep enough here and we got a 2.5mm bead, so I wouldn't be expecting that to get down very, very quickly. So it needs to travel a little bit of water before it gets down to exactly where I want it to be. We just found recently that 2.5mm seems to be the right size bead for a trout at the moment, so. Now what we're watching here for a dry fly, as I've mentioned before when I've tried the kinks, is that you've got to be able to see everything on that kink, right? That kink or the sage or whatever maybe you're using for a dry dropper. So it's got to be highly visible. We've talked about that, the 3 core points of what the dry fly should be. It's got to be highly visible, it's got to be able to support the weight that's underneath it, and it's also got to be able to catch fish, okay? But back to the first point, that high visibility. At any stage there, a trout could hit that nymph down on the bed of the river and that dry fly will not drop. What will happen is it'll just come along and it'll stop and twitch and move. So if you're firing it from here halfway up the stream, or it's too small that you can't see it, you will not be able to detect those subtle little takes. So I like to keep it pretty close, pretty much at the same length most of the times, and make sure it's high vis so I can see it. Right, let's move over here a little bit and get a little bit more up into this stream. I see a bit more activity up here maybe. Kind of quiet now this time of the evening. It's about, what time is it here now? It's 6 o'clock here this evening. Evening rise is still happening a bit, especially with this lovely bit of heat wave we're getting. So activity this time of the day wouldn't be prolific, but still, we'll try and rustle out a couple just making our way up to this stream here. Little bit of a twitch there. New fish must be camera shy tonight. We were fishing there for a few minutes before we started rolling, and well, we didn't get anything exciting, but we got a couple of quick takes, and I thought we might pick up a few more better fish as we moved up around here. Doesn't seem to be the case just yet. Oh, rise to the dry fly. So there's a great point there, just proving again that you know, your dry fly's got to be able to catch fish. Okay, so as I was saying earlier on, the evening rise is still on, still not happening at the moment. Fish are possibly looking up. A good dry fly, good clink, and hey presto. Best fish so far the evening. Smoke and took our lovely clink, or our sage. That's a bonus. You know, that's putting that emphasis on tying good flies and tying effective fly, especially when it comes to dry dropper. You can see it right there. Keep that fish under less stress as possible. There we go. Now, nice trout, best trout of the evening. Up took the dry dropper, the dry fly, and great. Okay, let's get this tidied up a little bit and then get back at it and see if we can get another one. Catching that lovely fish. I always find a real good tip too as well, guys, that whenever I'm working on my setup or my rig, be it nymph and dry fly, dry dropper, always face downstream if possible. As you work on things then and you drop them into water, they flow away from you. If you're working on them upstream, what happens is it comes back in around your body, and you could put a little needle hole with your hook into your waders or whatever. So whenever I'm working on it, always slightly upstream, give it a little rub of Armadoo just to get it cleaned up. Catch it by the hook, and again massage it into the excess piece of muslin, or not muslin, of Dry Magic I have there in the back of my hand, ready to go. Okay, and then when you're ready to cast, when you're ready to go, so I'll do that there now again. When you're ready to go, you can just let everything drop on the water. That's floating away from me there now at the moment. I can pick up my rod, I can turn, one little flick, and I'm back fishing. So the transition between catching a fish and getting back fishing is very easy. Keep it as simple as possible. I often find that most of the problems that we get in fly fishing on the river, it's all self-inflicted. Of course, knock up the bay so we don't lose anything out of it. Let's see if we can get another couple of nonsense. The rod, so if that dry fly twitches or drops, you can be very quick to set that hook. We'll make a quick little fly change, give it another minute or two, and see if we can get something happening. So when we're looking at the distance between our nymph and our dry fly, which is very, as usual, turn around, make it life easy myself. The distance between our nymph and our dry fly should be roughly around 1.5 times the depth of the river, is where I normally start. The one I had on here earlier on when I started first. Switching off a 2.5 up to a 3 mil. So we always start long, so 1.5 times the depth of the river on average is the distance from your dry fly to your nymph. And there, from there you can shorten it up. It's much easier to shorten it up than it is to add in 6 inches if you realise you're too short. Okay, let's give this a few minutes and see how we go. Go. Small, like some of the ones, oh, it's not even a fish. See, there's no edits on here, that's weed. But thought it was a small trout that we were catching earlier on when we started. Anyway, shows I'm still awake. You don't want to play with us tonight, folks. Stephen. I'll put back on my drink. I'll just lose another few minutes fishing. Hope you're all enjoying the show tonight. Hope you're all keeping well. We're in a lovely sunny August afternoon here. So one thing about these sedge clinks, they can be pretty tedious to get that line through them. That eye, there's a lot of business going on around that eye. There we go. So we just moved up a little bit there after I sorted out that mess. And a little 2.5 mil. Certainly got us going again. Nothing massive, but a bit of action. Let us know we're on the right track. And you know, having a big sedge kink as well. In this riffly water, it's going to stay buoyant, you're going to see it, and you should be still able to detect those. Let's see if we get something sitting in there. we have it in a nutshell. Very simple. It is a really lovely way to fish dry dropper. I really do enjoy it. You can cover a lot of different types of river. Very versatile and can be very productive on any given day. So hope you all enjoyed that little bit of a clip. And if there's any questions, shoot them across. We're going to head back to the studio there now where I'm live, and I'm going to keep fishing here for another little while, see if I get another one. So see you all soon.